Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a very important part of fish keeping, weekly to bi-weekly water changes. Now ideally what you want to do is every week or every other week remove a third, 25% to 30% of the water starting at the gravel level and replace it with new water. Now the important thing to understand is when you replace your water, use the same source water. That is, if you use tap water, stay with tap water. If you use well water, stay with well water. If you use bottled water, stay with the same brand of bottled water. And the other important thing is, of course, is to match the temperature. So match the parameters and match the temperature. Now the first thing we're going to do is get a light source. So turn on all your lights. Okay.
Keep going.
All right, now the first thing we have to remember now that we can see what we're doing, one of the most important things I'm going to tell you is this. Turn off the source of power to your tank. Namely your filter and your heater. You don't want your filter running dry because you'll burn out the motor, and you do not want your heater exposed to air while it's running. That can explode. And right next to your glass aquarium, well, I don't even want to think about it. Okay, so what we'll need. I got some 5-gallon buckets. Got a siphon. This is a siphon. The way this works is this big part goes in the tank and the smaller tube goes in your bucket. You always want to have you want to siphon down with the aid of gravity. Won't work like this. The bucket's got to be below your tank. Okay, and the next thing is, of course, for when you replace your water, if it's tap water, it's going to be loaded with chlorine. So you're going to want to use something, preferably with a slime coat additive, just to help out with stress, prevent stress. Okay. So, starting at one end of the tank, first I'm going to pull up my, look out little shrimp, first I'm going to pull up my air stone, and ideally what you want to do, put down in there, watch out for fish. Give this a quick puff. And you don't want to get that in your mouth. But you want to deep clean the gravel. And see all that fish poop coming out of there? It's called moam. It's composting fish poop and uneaten fish food. Don't want to get too many snails. Now when you get around plants, you don't want to do too deep of a cleaning because you'll disturb the roots. So I'm just going to do a little light dusting. Oops. That was nice. So you want to do a little light cleaning around your plants. Especially these ones. I just planted them, so I want to be real careful around them. So I'm going to pull about 15 to 20 gallons out of this tank. deep cleaning there where there's not a plant. Alright, there's 10 gallons. I'm going to go empty these, and I'll be right back. And I'm back, and we're going to do the other side now. Drain the pipe, give it a quick puff. Now I had done deep cleaning the other day, so there shouldn't be a lot of mold. So I'm just going to do a little light dusting. Okay, 3 down, and 1 more. I have so many plants that I'm actually scared to vacuum anymore. But we just want to get the worst of it. And what we're really after is about 30% of the water. This is the easy part, by the way. The hard part's coming up next. As far as for the fish, that is. Taking the water out, not so stressful. The influx of new water shouldn't be stressful if you play your cards right. But it can be the worst thing in the world if you don't do it right. So here we are at our water source. I use my bathtub. First thing we want to do is we don't want to discard our wastewater yet. We want to set that aside. Step 1 is turn on your hot water all the way. Let that hot water get as hot as it can because you don't want any fluctuations when you're adjusting. So you can run around and do a couple of things while you're waiting, or you can sing the Jeopardy theme song, whatever you want to do. Give the water a chance to get to its maximum heat. That way it's stable. I live on the second floor, so it takes a little while. So This is the temperature matching portion. So once your water is at its peak, which I'd say it is now, crank your cold water. Bring one of your wastewater buckets and first your source water, which is coming out of the spigot, is going to be a lot warmer than your wastewater. So at this point you're going to dial back on the hot water and you're going to test again. And I'd say that's pretty darn close. That's pretty darn close. We've only got about less than a 2-degree margin of error when it comes to changing the temperature in your tank. Anything over to that, it's game over for your shrimp and for some of your fish like your barbaroas and your gouramis and your betas. So this is right. You can discard your wastewater. Rinse your bucket. Place it under the source. And as it's filling, shake your stuff real good. As your bucket's filling, add your Novaqua. That way it gets mixed in there real good. I'm going to get my other source bucket and do the exact same thing. Now you'll probably have a smaller tank than I do. You only need one bucket. I need 4. Shake, shake, shake. So now since I'm going to need more water than this, I'm going to leave my water running. So I keep my temperature. Okay. Are we rolling? Okay. Up we go. Now the first bucket's always kind of a humdinger. My second bucket's a little easier because I can split it up. That's good. Put it in a good position. Okay, my water's still running, so we're going to do it all over again. And that's all the water. Now, the most important thing, other than turning off your power, is priming your pump. You got to get water back in that pump. So you fill it up. Like so. Buckets go back. Final cleanup. And now that the pump has been primed, we're all done. Takes a minute or two for the pump to catch up, but there she goes. Now the thermometer should read right around just above that green line, or at that green line. Let's see what it says. Yep, hasn't budged. We done good. We done good. And that is how you do a water change. I do a water change whenever the nitrates go above 40, or every week, whichever comes first. This is my second water change this week because I had high nitrates. I've since added a couple more plants, and I'm not doing any more fish, and I probably should remove some of these new guppies because I have guppies coming out my ears. Well, that's our water change. Next week we'll cover a couple of other essentials for tank cleaning, tank keeping, like filter maintenance and the like. But for now, my fish should be happy for another week. Thank you for joining me. Good night.